Okay, this is kind of breaking news. This is kind of breaking news. Like I say, I don't like my head and face so huge on this thing. So the Federal Reserve has scheduled basically an unannounced until today important meeting. It's kind of like an emergency meeting. Okay, they're going to be discussing raising the interest rates. If they're having right, bear with me, they're having an emergency meeting on Monday about raising the rates when they were supposed to do it or talk about it at least December 12th. So if they're having a early, unannounced, unscheduled is more like it, meeting, I think it's safe to say they're not going to have an unscheduled meeting to say, well, we're going to do what we said last time. We're not going to raise the rates and we're going to wait till December. Why the hell would they have a meeting out of nowhere? They're going to raise the rates. I told you the other day, I know a lot of people were talking about them kicking that can and negative, and I even talked about it myself. But I said, man, I think they could do it because if they raise the rates, a whole lot of Webbot stuff is probably going to happen all of a sudden, and markets will probably collapse, thus making Lindsey Williams' prediction correct. Which, again, if they're scheduling to do this and they're doing it on purpose, they have to have things happen to make it and help it along. Raising the rates would do that. So, matters considered, advance notice of a meeting under expedited procedures. It is anticipated that the closed meeting of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System at 11:30 a.m. Monday, November 23rd, 2015, will be held under expedited procedures as set forth in Section 26 LB 7 whatever of the rules, blah, blah, blah. In Washington, D.C., the following items of official board business are tentatively scheduled to be considered at that meeting. Matters, and this is the only matter considered, review and determination of the Board of Governors of the advanced and discount rates to be charged by the Federal Reserve banks. That is the quote unquote interest rates. When the Fed hikes the rates, that's what they're talking about. So, let's go back in time, a very short period of time, by the way. The Webbot reports have been on fire lately with predictions that have been accurate. I've covered every little bit of it. Every single thing, I've covered it. I've got the videos. If you guys are new to my channel, just check out anything that has the word Webbot in it for the last month, this month and last month, October, maybe even September, to kind of catch up with what the Webbot report had been predicting. And it's been on fire with getting him right. It said to look for Bitcoin hitting 408 and then going above that, and then coming down, then going up again, past that, then going back down, and then a third and final hoorah. And from what I understand, it's not going to come back down past that, below the 408 price point. It has currently been sitting at for days and days and days and days and days. 300 plus, a little over 300, 330, 320, 330, 320. Hasn't moved up again anywhere near that price. And the Webbot said it was expecting this at the end of November. Third week, possibly fourth week of November. And it happened early. And I covered it. Oh my God, Webbot nailed it. It's already started early. 408, it surpassed it, came back down, passed it again, came back down, etc. But he told me, he's like, yeah, but I know it kind of hit the up and down 3 times in one day, but that's not what he was talking about. A little bit of time has to go by. So he was saying, no, we just need to see this happen again like that at the end of November. So again, I covered all this. It's all, the videos are there. So this whole time, as I covered the other day, I think it was when I was in my car, and I said, what can this thing, if the Webbot report is seeing that happen with Bitcoin, and then the most important piece of that for us was that was like a precursor event. So if that happens, we should see silver prices going up significantly afterwards, and not long afterwards, like very soon afterwards. So I've been trying to think, as the prices are being smashed recently, in stranglehold upon stranglehold. The price of silver right now, today I looked, it was like just barely over $14 and just a few pennies. I'm like, oh my God, are they about to touch the 13s? So if you're the elite and you put a massive stranglehold pounding gold and silver lately, if you knew the price was about to explode, wouldn't you want to, as the elite, wouldn't you want to push them down as far as you can to start with, so that when they do explode higher, they were already low enough. They didn't start at a higher level. Gold was almost $1,100 again. It was up there. Silver recently, well, matter of fact, it was over $1,100. Silver was like $16 and some change, and then all of a sudden they smash them and smash them and smash them. I'm watching the inventories at the COMEX. They are on fumes with the gold and silver, the real gold and silver. So it's there's something going on, and like I said in my other video, I think it was when I was in my car, and I said, I just can't. I'm trying to figure out what kind of event can come out of left field that would make Bitcoin go skyrocket, well, not necessarily skyrocket, but go up significantly, and then silver afterwards. Like, and I was trying to give some ideas and look at this and that and that, and maybe there's going to be a terrorist attack. Maybe it'll be the thing in Chicago. They take out the COMEX because the COMEX market is in Chicago, and well, I'm just trying to give you all these ideas. And I said, we're not going to know until it's kind of after the fact, and we get to see what the item from left field is that causes it, if it even happens. And Friday, today, we hear this: expedited closed meeting, Federal Reserve to discuss interest rates out of nowhere, unscheduled event, which is now public, so it is scheduled as far as we're concerned. But if you looked at their agenda the whole time, there was nothing on the agenda saying in November we're going to have another meeting. The next one was supposed to be December 12th, I believe. We're going to discuss the rate hikes. So you mean to tell me out of nowhere, and it's perfectly timed to be the third week, that perfectly third to fourth week, November timeframe, Webbot said something big should happen, causing Bitcoin to jump, silver to jump right afterwards. And I get this today. Is this the left field item that's going to cause the market to go down, Bitcoin and silver to skyrocket, especially silver apparently? Remains to be seen now, doesn't it? But as I was in my car the other day, I'm thinking, I'm giving scenarios, and I couldn't see it. Little did I know, or anybody, Federal Reserve is going to have a secret meeting in advance. Not necessarily secret, because they finally have to say it, and they just, of course, what better day to do it on a Friday? Let's wait for markets to close and everything else, and then we'll discuss having this meeting on Monday. Now, let me go here with you. From September 17th, 2015, mainstream media shill, CNBC. Title: When the Fed raises rates, here's what happens. A rate hike will come and the bull market will stumble. The stock market, the one that just keeps going up. Bad news goes up, good news goes up, no news goes up. That market. A rate hike will come and the bull market will stumble. Bond yields will climb and the economy will slip into recession, says the elite themselves through their mouthpiece, mainstream media. This we know, it says. Oh, I'm sure you do know, if you're the one who does it. What we don't know is how long all of that will take and how long it will last. For the economy specifically, history offers little guide about timing. A recession has come as quickly as 11 months after the first rate hike and as long as 86 months. The Federal Reserve's aggressiveness in raising rates is often, though not always, a determinant in how the economy and financial assets respond. That's why officials at the U.S. Central Bank have stressed so vigorously that investors should not be focused on when it starts raising rates, but rather the trajectory of how long it will take to normalize. So I want to find the word bonds in here because it's got it listed. subcategory within the article, bonds. Fixed income also has been volatile as the markets anticipate a rate hike, and the pattern is somewhat similar to what equities experience. The principal difference is that the impact happens faster in bonds than stocks when the Fed changes course and policy. Quote, for bonds, it does seem yields change directly immediately as the first hike or cut in the cycle arrives. At the end of the hiking cycle, bond yields fall immediately. So here's something else that ties in with this. Do you remember, and I did videos on this, the My IRA thing, Obama created this thing that they coined under his name, the Myra account. My IRA, the Myra account. It's funny because didn't it just go live the other day? And let's focus on the Myra accounts. What is it? What do they invest in? And why is it going live right now, just before some events about to happen with the stock market? From Zero Hedge. It's official. Barack Obama wants to help you manage your retirement savings. In 1875, right around the time the U.S. overtook the UK as the largest economy in the world, the American Express Company established the very first private pension plan in the U.S. American Express had a simple goal: attract the best and brightest employees to give them retirement security. At the time, this was a revolutionary idea. Except the Romans did it 2,000 years ago and crumbled because they couldn't pay for it. That's another story. The concept of retirement was practically Martian. Back then, most people worked until they were no longer medically fit to do so. To voluntarily stop working and live out your golden years on perpetual vacation was a complete fantasy. But a century after American Express, thanks in large part to rising prosperity in the 20th century, retirement had become the norm. Private companies' pension plans covered about over 40% of the American workforce, and millions of Americans were receiving Social Security by the 1970s. Then in 1974, the government passed the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, establishing individual retirement accounts known as IRAs, that's what it means, to help people save for retirement in a tax advantageous way. Fast forwarding to 2015, we can see that none of this turned out quite like they'd expected. The state of retirement in America is now pretty abysmal. First and foremost, Social Security is desperately, woefully unfunded. Again, this is not Simon Black's conjecture. The Treasury Secretary and the Labor Secretary both sign an annual report stating that Social Security is close to, quote, trust fund depletion. That just happened recently. I heard about that. In fact, one of Social Security's major trust funds is literally days away from running out of money. That is also true. Uh, you want me to ask the Magic 8 Ball if that's true? No problem. Magic 8 Ball, is it about to run out of money? That particular fund? By God, signs point to yes. See, if Magic 8 Ball says so, it must be so. Federal retirement funds, trust funds across the board, like the Railroad Retirement Fund, are also nearly exhausted. Meanwhile, private companies have followed the government's example, with many private pension funds similarly approaching insolvency. You see this frequently in the news as the cost of their pension funds push airlines and manufacturers into bankruptcy. They simply cannot pay their retirees. Not to worry, the federal government has an agency called the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation to bail out guarantee insolvent private pensions. It's like the FDIC for private pension funds. There's just one problem. The PBGC itself needs a bailout. PBGC's latest report shows a net financial position of negative 62 billion, which is how much more money they have in liabilities than assets. There's another word for that. It's called being insolvent. So there goes that idea. Last, there are individual retirement plans like IRAs and 401ks. Unfortunately, most Americans' individual retirement plans are woefully underfunded. Again, it's the same damn story as the Roman Empire. Unfunded liabilities is what brought down the Roman Empire. Unfunded pension liabilities. And the median amount saved by baby boomers amounts to just 13% of what their projected retirement needs actually are. But not to worry, once again, the federal government is to the rescue. Here's the whopper. Last week, and again, this is from several days ago, this story, but last week, prior to several days ago, the Obama administration officially rolled out its MIRA program. See, I mentioned this when they said it then. I know my video when I talked about this, when we all first heard of MIRA, I said it then. We're going to find out what this is about. And I even said, again, I said it then. I'll tell you what it's about. You're going to be literally forced into this because you're going to have you may have a choice. Crashing stock market, or take it and put it into the MIRA account and not have to worry about that stock market crashing and put it into something quote unquote safe. And exactly what do these MIRA IRAs invest into? Let's check that out. So last week, the Obama administration officially rolled out its MIRA program. MIRA is a special form of IRA that helps Americans save for retirement by making it easy for you to loan your money to the federal government. Like a retirement account, the idea is to save a little bit every month or every year to be set aside in a tax advantageous way for retirement. The big catch here is that for MIRA accounts, there's only one investment, and that is U.S. government bonds. You're now gonna fund the borrowing of money to the federal government. You're gonna watch again. I knew this is amazing because I look at this and say, damn. Sometimes I will give an opinion about something, and it sounds good. It makes sense. But I have to wait to see, is it really going to happen the way I thought it would? My opinion is just an opinion. I'm thinking I'm gathering all the right stuff and putting it together, but again, it's just an opinion. And now I get to see MIRA accounts they're enabled, they're ready to go all of a sudden, just days ago. And we have an emergency Fed meeting on Monday, which may raise interest rates. Again, is the Fed going to have an unforeseen meeting? We need to have an urgent meeting that wasn't scheduled. It's not on the agenda about interest rates to find out and come out to everyone, oh, we're not going to raise them. You already said that. We know you already said that. We don't have to hear it again. We're waiting till December 12th for you to have the next meeting where you might raise them, you said. But we're having an emergency meeting on Monday prior to that. What could it possibly be? They're going to raise the rates. Oh my God. That's going to be the left field item. Webbot's probably going to be right. It's going to see Bitcoin spike. You're going to see silver and precious metals spike because of this announcement. You're then going to see the market not like that announcement and start crashing, scaring and forcing people to take that retirement and put it into the MIRA account. How much do you want to bet when the markets start tanking? You're going to hear the mainstream media pushing, oh, you should put your money in something safe with the market. You should put it in something safe. Oh, I've got an idea. The newly created MIRA, they just went active a couple weeks ago. They do everything in a plan. There's an agenda. And I don't mean like, the New World Order agenda. Just an agenda. Like you may have your own agenda on a calendar or your work week or your work month. I got an agenda. I got to do these things. That's all. That's what I mean by the word agenda right now. They have an agenda. We got to do this first. We're going to have the MIRA thing ready to go before we pull the plug on the stock market, before we pull the plug on the interest rates being at near zero, and we have to raise them. So that'll go in on that. 2 weeks before that happens, we'll let the MIRAs go active. We'll do the Federal Reserve thing, which will scare everybody out of the market. And then over here, It's all an agenda. And this is it. They've just released Myra for your liking. Go ahead and put your funds into it. You know how you can call your 401 company and say, take me out of the market? Oh, you don't have that kind of plan with us, sir. Your company doesn't, so we can't take it out. But we can put in something less vulnerable, pays lower interest too, but less risky. But that's all I can do for you, sir. But I know the market's going to crash. I don't want to do that. Sorry. You can go get that 401k and you can put it in an Myra, guarantee it, without any penalty, without anything. And that's what they want you to do. They'll take the market down, flush all the funds. This is no different than the federal government taking your money and forcing you into their bond, but you're now going to fund the federal government by force. And you may not say, well, actual force, but if they're holding you over a barrel in the stock market and it starts crashing, and you turn, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And all of your favorite investment experts on TV, and the guy who works at Fidelity National, he's an expert, makes $500,000 a year. He's going to advise you. Well, the safest thing to do, sir or ma'am, is to put it in these new Myra accounts. Very tax advantageous, and they're guaranteed by the government. They are as secure as they come, safe as they come. This was all planned to do that. I said so, that's what I thought they would do a long time ago when they first talked about Myra. I knew then they're going to push you into this. I wonder, real quick, since I'm doing this at this moment, I don't know what I would have titled it, but let me just see. JSNIP4 from YouTube, right? JSNIP4, Myra. 1 year ago. Oh, beautiful. I found the link, first choice. I'm going to copy this and paste it into this video so you can just click on it. But the title, in case you're wondering, Realist News, stock market slow crashing equals scare people into Myra/bonds. First, let me say, I'm about to go meet some people to eat, by the way. That's why my phone's dinging. First, let me say that I'm not bragging. JSNIP4 doesn't come out and brag. I don't blow smoke up my own rear. This feels exciting to me and extremely important. And I can refer back to something I said it says right here, 1 year ago, 5,101 views. Stock market slow crashing equals scare people into Myra/bonds. Now, I'm not going to sit here right now and say that we are going to have a slow crash. I know I said it's against my opinion, but it's going to go how the elite want it to go. Do they want it slam dunking and just destruction of a stock market crash, or do they want it to start right now and slowly but surely crash so that they can kind of push, along, hey, people get into these Myra accounts? Or are they going to do a heavy duty spanking at first and then stop it for a second, let it hover around some new level, pushing the sheep along into the Myra accounts, then let it drop another 2,000 or 3,000 points or whatever it is? Again, that remains to be seen. I don't know. All I know is I said to look out for this. I've got the video link right here. That's the beauty of having a million videos on YouTube. I've got like 1,800 on there. It's a good thing, honestly, that I can remember that I even said that. Sometimes I forget stuff, months later, and someone will send me an email. Joe, you said this. I was like, oh yeah, damn, I did. Hey, thanks. Whatever. So that's nice that people keep me in line and keep me remembering stuff that maybe I said, or something that I said to look out for, whether it be in a Webbot report or whatever, and then they remind me, hey, this just happened today. That kind of thing. But all I'm going to say right now, super red alert. If you don't have your silver, or you are contemplating buying more silver, now might be the right time. Having said that, that does not mean that the club, as part of their plan to do whatever the hell they're about to do, can't give silver and gold a massive butt whooping down right before it explodes. They can do whatever the hell they want since they control it. But Webbot said, we don't see that kind of thing happening per se. We see Bitcoin going like this 3 times, and by the end, third week, starting around the third week of November, you should see something happening to where Bitcoin does that, goes up 408 plus, stays there, does not come back down below that really, and then silver is off to the races. Shocking numbers. Shocking explosion upward. The language around that silver was things like panic to own, frantic buying, panic to own, panic to acquire. Those were the words, keywords surrounding silver in the Webbot report, referring to the near future, and this was from a month or two ago. And even before that, the same language had been in the Webbot reports talking about in the future, we're going to definitely see the silver go up, and the same kind of keywords were around there. The only thing I can say is, are you willing to chance silver getting a big smashing right before it rises? Because if it doesn't, you're going to be sick to your stomach. You're going to be upset. And you're going to say, damn it, I tried to get greedy, or I tried to do this. We're at $14 silver. If that's not low enough for you right now, I'm going to say it to your face. You're out of your mind if you're going to try to chance it crashing down. I'll give you the example, and I'll end this video, of what I've said that would be a good scenario for people to potentially do. If you've acquired the amount of silver you've been waiting for all this time or whatever, you set a goal and you met it. But you could use a credit card or use something, you could come up with a couple bucks. In that scenario, man, if you want to find a fire sale and you're willing to hope and that silver goes down, and if it does, then pounce on it, fine. But if you're not in that situation, you need to go get that silver now, again, just to be safe. Just to be safe. It's not to say that they can't smash it, because they can. Look at what they've been doing to it. Gold contract on the COMEX market. The norm was 100 paper contracts to one real thing of 100-ounce physical gold that backs that one contract. There's 100 to 1. Talk about fractional reserve lending. The recent numbers have blown everything out of the water. They've never been higher ever in the history of the COMEX market. 300 to 1 gold. 300 paper to one of those 100-ounce contract or metal that's supposed to be backing it. And then when it was doing it, I was saying it then, this is absurd, this is crazy. They had to get that much paper out to contain the price of gold and silver. And look what they did with it. They pushed it back down. That's how much it took them to push it back down. And that's as best as they got so far. $14 silver and whatever gold's out at 11 or 1,070 or 60. I'm not even sure, whatever it's at right now. I'm issuing a red alert. If you thought about getting some silver, you better get it right now. You better lock that in now. Because I got a sneaky suspicion that this damn Webbot, which has been on fire with its correct predictions over the last 2 months, insane. It got everything right it talked about. 4 things in a row. Like I said, I don't care how or why or how absurd, it doesn't matter. If this damn thing shows me data, and this freaking thing comes out and said, oh, we got that right, you should be expecting that next. Oh, that happened. And then that happens. And that happened. Are you kidding me? As I said the other day, I was in the Webbot report. He emails me. You're in the Webbot report. Well, he doesn't say it in that way. This last email, he just said, look, if this data is right, you should start getting asked to do more interviews on your JSNET4 YouTube channel. And I'll suspect that there'll probably be financial channels or people asking to do the interviews for you. If I had to guess, at least start that way. And then you may see this by as early as 2016. He said that the night that I actually got asked to do an interview that morning. And I didn't tell anybody. I was still talking to the guy to ask, when do you want to do it? What do you want to talk about? And Cliff High sends me an email telling me this. So I immediately emailed the guy back. Hey, by chance, have you ever talked to Cliff High, the guy that runs the Webbot? And by chance, more importantly, like about me and you talking at all? He said, no, not at all. No, I've never talked to him. I said, you got to be kidding me. He emailed me that night after I already received the email. I haven't been asked to do an interview by anybody in years. That's what I'm talking about. This damn Webmont report is insane. It doesn't get everything right. But damn it, if it got the last 4 out of 5 things right and we're waiting for that fifth and final thing, something should happen in late November that causes silver to rise, Bitcoin to rise. Oh my God, there's a unscheduled Federal Reserve meeting to raise the rates on Monday. When is this? Oh, the third week, roughly, of November. You gotta be kidding me. Stay tuned, my friends. Stay tuned. Because crap is about to get really, really interesting. Take care.